coming up tonight on VCU InSight.
I didn't touch it. Tensions rise on Monument Avenue as a pro-Confederate group is met with counter-protesters.
I'm Gabriella Lacombe, and next I'll tell you about a VCU student who is the victim of a hit and run and show you footage of the car that police are still looking for.
I'm Alexis Allen. Find out why crime is increasing in Richmond public housing areas.
All this and more.
VCU InSight starts right now.
From the Richard T. Robertson School of Media and Culture at Virginia Commonwealth University, named Best Student Newscast in the Mid-Atlantic, this is VCU InSight.
Good evening and welcome to VCU InSight. I'm Jordan Bruss.
And I'm Sayoni Hughley. Thanks for joining us. A VCU student is heading for her third surgery after becoming the victim of a vicious hit-and-run accident, and the people responsible are still at large. Gabriella Lacombe has more on what happened and how this tragedy has affected the victim and her family.
The pain, I just felt it hit me out of nowhere and drag me down the street.
Lynn, who is using a false name for her safety until the driver is caught, had her life turned upside down by the accident. A hospital bed, a wheelchair ramp, and the pins in her hips are all reminders of what she went through.
I think carbon and titanium rods, or like carbon fiber.
Since that fateful night, she has had to leave Richmond and trade time at school for time spent going through surgery and physical therapy. VCU security camera footage shows the car, which police have identified as a red or orange Ford Escape SE, with more than one person inside, driving the wrong way on Broad Street just before the hit and run. On the night of September 3rd, the student was crossing the street here at the intersection of North Belvedere and West Gray Street when the car rounded the corner, struck the victim, and continued to drag her under the car without stopping.
So it's just like slow getting down, but it's fine.
Helping Lynn through all this are her parents, who rushed to VCU Medical Center that night, horrified of what might be waiting for them. Even though they're relieved that Lynn is going to be okay, Lynn's parents couldn't hide how they felt toward those responsible.
They don't want me to find them. It won't be good.
After the hit and run, cameras were able to follow the vehicle north on Belvedere and across Lee Street before losing them, and the driver and his accomplices are still at large. The road to recovery is going to be a long one, but Lynn is facing it all with a smile.
I just hope that they come forward and make the right choice eventually, but I'm not hung up on it. I just want to feel better, honestly.
For VCU InSight, I'm Gabriella Lacombe.
VCU police are asking anyone who might have information on this crime to contact the VCU Police Department or send in tips anonymously to Richmond Crime Stoppers online at www.crimestoppersrichmondvirginia.com or by calling 804-780-1000.
Controversy surrounding Confederate monuments continues to mount after the deadly white supremacist rally in Charlottesville. Recently, Richmond held its own protests, and VCU InSight's Amber Wishy was at the rally.
A few hundred counter-protesters came out to Monument Avenue in response to a very small pro-Confederate rally. The rally, led by the Confederate States of America II, known as CSA2, was in response to Confederate monuments being removed after Charlottesville's deadly protest. Despite Governor McAuliffe's executive order banning protests, the group traveled from Tennessee to defend the Robert E. Lee Monument.
We came here to help the people who want to stand up for the monuments and the heritage.
Counter-protesters marched from the Maggie L. Walker statue on Broad Street to Monument Avenue, where they met the 7 CSA members protesting. Anti-fascist group Antifa and a Black Lives Matter group from New York joined as well. Supporter of the monument, Steve Meadows, says this isn't about hate.
We're not here to be hate. I don't believe in hate. I live in an integrated community. I go to an integrated church. My civic clubs are integrated.
Karen Pitchford explains her reasoning for being at the protest.
It's okay to have your history. It's okay to be proud, but be mindful of what you're being proud of. Okay, I come out here because my ancestors were killed, abused, and tried to be kept enslaved by the Robert E. Lee.
7 arrests have been made in relation to the protest. According to the CSA2's Facebook page, the group says that they have been asked by Virginians to come back to Richmond in December. For VCU InSight, I'm Amber Wishy.
In an email sent out to the university, VCU's president Dr. Rao says the school will conduct a comprehensive audit of what symbols of Confederacy, slavery, white supremacy, and other items exist at VCU.
The turnout of protesters involved in not only Monument Avenue, but in rallies all over the country raises the question, are there deeper meanings surrounding Confederate monuments? VCU InSight's Sierra Brown is here in studio to tell us more.
Thanks, guys. I had the chance to speak with a VCU professor who specializes in African American studies and a representative of the American Civil War Museum here in Richmond to talk about why these rallies are happening. And the conversation will get you thinking.
The monuments are like anything else. There are different perspectives of the monuments depending on who you ask and depending on when you ask them.
Is what Waite Rawls, a representative of the American Civil War Museum, says about the controversies surrounding the statues along Monument Avenue. And he believes the monuments don't have one particular meaning. However, to some, the monuments have meanings that cannot be ignored. Professor Adam Ewing of VCU says Monument Avenue is a representation of America's shadowed past.
So the monuments reflect is this older tradition that is rooted in this denial of black humanity. And it is, so, you know, it is deeply offensive. Our history has been rooted in white supremacist principles, and it remained that way until World War II, essentially.
CSA2 and many others who were out protesting to keep the monuments say that they are celebrating heritage, not hate. But Professor Ewing says this effort is relatable but impossible.
The heritage that they are trying to honor is deeply offensive to a lot of Americans. Because what Monument Avenue really represents is that the Confederacy hasn't left.
And he believes the monuments should come down.
Those monuments themselves have a history, and that history is rooted in the denial of black people in this country. Our public space should be reserved for people that we consider heroes, and it's very hard to consider the people on Monument Avenue heroes.
According to Professor Ewing, the protests that we see happening not only here in Richmond, but across the country represent changes that Americans want to see happen in their communities. Both Ewing and Rawls said that serious conversations need to happen in order for people to understand these monuments' full history. For VCU InSight, I'm Sierra Brown. Now let's take it back to the desk.
According to Richmond Police, there have already been 4,738 major crimes in the city of Richmond this year, compared to last year's 4,483. 56 people have been killed from shootings alone. Richmond officials say the crimes are centered around Richmond's public housing and other concentrated areas of poverty. VCU InSight's Alexis Allen has more.
Homicide, rape, robbery, assault. All violent crimes that Richmond City is no stranger to. But Richmond.com says violent crime is up 9% compared to this time last year. And VCU's criminal justice professor and former police officer Cherno Worry says the crime rate in Richmond's low-income neighborhoods are due to a number of factors.
Things can cause that. We can look at the socioeconomic status, or we can look at the environment, we can look at the community themselves.
In public housing areas like Mosby Court, the crime rate is 148% higher than the national average, according to AreaVibes.com, meaning you have a 1 in 15% chance of being a victim of a crime.
In a recent press conference, Richmond Police Chief Alfred Durham said his main concern is the effect these crimes have on the city's youth. And with 14 children between the ages of 4 to 17 already shot this year, a concerned citizen says she just wants things to be better.
You're safe nowhere. Nowhere. You're not safe nowhere. I can walk to the store and something can happen. I can be talking to y'all right now and something can happen to me 5 minutes from now.
Chief Durham adds the police are frustrated with the violence occurring in the city and assures us that police are working hard to close the gap. Alexis Allen, VCU InSight.
For more information about what police are doing to combat crime in your area, visit www.ci.richmond.va.us/police.
Coming up, we'll tell you how many Virginia kids die of cancer every year.
The numbers may surprise you.
Plus, struggling high school and college students are getting a helping hand from a local nonprofit.
We've never been very good at sitting still. Maybe that's why we built our campus in the middle of a city. Why we put our classrooms on riverbanks, in Fortune 500 companies, even on stage. At Virginia Commonwealth University, learning happens everywhere. What matters most is how you make it real.
Celebrated from September 15th to October 15th, nationally, Hispanic Heritage Month honors the histories, cultures, and contributions of Latin people in the United States, who make up 17% of the national population. Today we have an assistant professor of Spanish joining us. InSight's Alexis Allen is here in studio to discuss what VCU is doing to raise awareness.
I'm here with Anita Nadal, who is not only an assistant professor of Spanish, but also a fellow RAM. She currently works as a faculty fellow with the Inclusive Excellence Program. Hi, Nadita. Thank you for joining us.
Hello.
So when was Hispanic Heritage Month nationally recognized in the U.S.?
It was established in 1968 under the presidency of Lyndon Johnson, and it began as Hispanic Heritage Week. And then later in 1988, under President Ronald Reagan, is when it officially became Hispanic Heritage Month.
And what does Hispanic Heritage Month mean to you?
It means for me as an educator an opportunity to help people to fully understand the variety, the diversity of ethnicities and races amongst Hispanics and their contributions in the United States.
And how do you feel about it being split into 2 months?
Well, the fact that it was established on the independence of 5 Latin American countries, which was September 15th, then it was based on that. So therefore, I think it's great.
And do you recall when Hispanic Heritage Month began being celebrated at VCU?
Well, I've only been at VCU since 2001. And so I can't say that I actually remember. I mean, I know that I've been involved in always making sure that every Hispanic Heritage Month that I, have activities for my students, and we try to do different things around campus. But I don't think I can actually remember before being a Latinx or faculty fellow that we had an official, celebration.
And what is VCU doing to raise awareness?
Yes, well, the Office of Inclusive Excellence has faculty fellows, and there's 2 Latinx faculty fellows, myself and Dr. Antonio Espinosa, and we have 4 events actually for Hispanic Heritage Month. In fact, tomorrow we're going to have a wonderful speaker, Lázaro Lima, the Associate Provost from U of R, is going to actually come to our campus and talk about the first Latina justice, Sonia Sotomayor.
And what's your favorite aspect of Hispanic Heritage Month?
My favorite aspect is truly being able to educate people and help them to understand the breadth and the depths and the variety within our cultures.
And what would you say your ultimate goal is throughout the entire month?
To just invite as many students, faculty, public to our events. Our events are educational, and we have some amazing Latinx speakers. So it may be the first time for some, to be exposed to so many Latinx professionals on our campus.
And do you have a pretty good turnout of students?
I do, and faculty and community.
And would you say that they are predominantly Latin or?
I think, I find since our campus is one that is very focused on diversity, that our audience from the community and within the community is very diverse. It's not just one group.
Thank you, Anita. And that was Anita Nadal, who is an assistant professor at VCU.
September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. Tragically, every week in Central Virginia, a child is diagnosed with cancer. According to Virginia Department of Health, nearly 48 children die, but it's not all bad news. VCU InSight Jasmine Stith has more.
Yeah, they're so fun. When he's videoing.
That's Jack and his mom having some fun with the camera because Jack is currently in cancer remission. Just 2 years ago, as a 7-year-old, despite that brave smile, he suffered through chemotherapy, losing much of his hair. Jack's mother, Stephanie Becker, says the process is like a roller coaster.
It's hard to watch your child go through the devastating side effects. They change his world, and they changed the family's world.
Jack was diagnosed with lymphoblastic lymphoma of both kidneys. Throughout his years of treatment, Assistance, Support, and Kindness Childhood Cancer Foundation was there for him and his family, and still is for the remainder of his protocol.
They are such an integral resource and aspect of our life. I don't know where we would be today without them.
According to the Virginia Health Department, 80% of children with cancer can survive 5 years or more thanks to hospitals like this one, the Children's Hospital of Richmond at VCU.
The executive director of ASK Childhood Cancer Foundation, Amy Godkin, explains why support services like ASK are so important to survivors and why they should continue with treatment.
Survivors in general are more likely to have long-term late effects, and they could be 5, 10, 15 years down the line.
Jack is now 9 years old, and as you can see, cancer can't stop him from being a bundle of joy. For VCU InSight, Jasmine Stith.
If you would like to join the fight for childhood cancer, visit askccf.org.
According to Richmond Public Schools, in 2016, there were nearly 1,500 homeless students in city schools. Change the World RVA is a local all-volunteer nonprofit that helps Richmond area high schools and college students who have unstable housing. Bradford Ambrose has more on this group and their current fundraising effort.
Through these doors, in an upstairs room at the Boulevard United Methodist Church, a small group of students meet. Meet Chelsea Trammell. She's been coming to Change the World RVA for 2 years.
A place to have fun with friends and get away from school for a bit or home. It's just something exciting to do and look forward to every time because we always do something different.
Natalie May is founder of Change the World RVA.
Our goal is to help them succeed in school, so whatever that takes. And unlike a lot of programs, when the kids turn 18 or graduate from high school, they can stay in the program. We never ask anybody to leave.
Their current fundraiser is Address Change, and it's their inaugural campaign. May says they're using mailboxes because it symbolizes home.
The money that we're hoping to raise during this campaign is going to make a difference in several, all of our students' lives. This space is the first space of their own that most, if not all, of these students have ever had, right? Most of my kids keep their stuff in trash bags. If they're lucky, they put them in plastic bins. Because they know they're going to be asked to move at any given moment.
May has one hope for the future.
If we could somehow connect need with people who have plenty to give, or even not so plenty, but are just have great hearts, we can really make a difference.
I hope to have this still in my future and hope Ms. May still be there too.
In Richmond, Bradford Ambrose, VCU InSight.
You can donate at one of the 12 area businesses until Saturday, September 30th. For a complete list of all those participating businesses, you can log on to changetheworldrva.org.
Up next, when you think of a country dance bar, what comes to mind? A Cambodian immigrant? We'll explain.
Also, some good news out of Hurricane Irma. Virginia becomes a new home for over 50 cats. We'll show you how they're settling in.
Think Then Choose Wisely is a nonprofit organization in the city of Petersburg that aims to guide young adults in the right direction with many projects, including the growing Petersburg Garden Project. Reporter Caitlin Moody sits down with the creator and executive director from the organization. Caitlin.
Thanks, Sionia. I'm here with Mike Jackson, the creator of Think, Then Choose Wisely, and the new executive director, Rosia Watson. They provide a food garden for the city of Petersburg. Thank you so much for joining me today. So, Mr. Jackson, can you just tell me a little background of what inspired you to make this food garden for the city of Petersburg?
I saw a need. I was so disgusted when I see young children in the grocery stores early in the morning buying potato chips and soda. I thought it was just terrible for a foundation. And as I looked around the city, I found that there were very little corner stores that served vegetables. They were basically just fast food places. And I decided to do something about it to supply the city, as also the restaurants in the local area, and now the corner stores with fresh vegetables, with many varieties that you wouldn't normally see right through our 5.71 acre garden.
Okay, and Ms. Watson, as the new executive director, what else will you bring to the food garden as it starts?
Well, we're trying to maintain this jewel in the city of Petersburg, and there is much need for us to keep our daily operations going. So that is going to be my immediate goal, is to raise the funds that we need to continue to provide the children and the families of Petersburg with healthy vegetables, and also provide them with a place to go where they're learning leadership skills, they're learning about farming and healthy eating habits. So right now, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for folks to support us so that we can continue with our daily operations.
Okay. Well, I know this organization has been around since 2012.
Yes,
have you already seen an impact in the community since you started?
Yes, ma'am. As Ms. Watson stated, we have engaged over 700 children from the school board, from different organizations. We have definitely made our impact, and we intend to also reach out to thousands. I think that we can be an example with a 5.71 acre urban farm in the state of Virginia, and that is our goal, to be a model to duplicate.
Okay, well, with that statement, does that mean that you're going to try to branch out to different communities soon?
That's what we intend to.
Okay.
We like to be the service area for them to come and gain insight to develop their own in different parts of the state of Virginia. So we would like to be a model.
Well, that sounds great. Thank you again for joining me.
Thank you.
If you would like to know more or help donate, visit thinkthenchoosewisely.org. Now back to the desk.
Hurricane Irma destroyed buildings, knocked down trees, and left many people in Florida devastated. But many forget about the animals. Lexi Hughes has more on the story.
Meet Cheddar. Cheddar is hundreds of miles away from the shelter he used to call home. Hurricane Irma has given him a new hope in finding his forever home after being rescued by the Richmond SPCA, along with 31 other cats. Tabitha Chalor, a spokesperson for the shelter, says that they saved these cats before the storm hit Florida.
So the cats who came here to the Richmond SPCA, don't have families looking for them. They were already in shelters and awaiting adoption, but by moving them up to the Richmond SPCA and safety in our care, we're making room in other shelters in those disaster-affected areas.
Tabitha also says that they give the best care possible before adoption.
We thoroughly vet every animal in our care prior to adoption.
This includes a vet examination, deworming treatments, vaccinations, and much more.
The cats and kittens that we brought in from Hurricane Irma are in various stages of being ready for adoption. A few of them have become available for adoption this week.
Tabitha says that the Hurricane Irma cats have become so popular that they're putting a green heart on their pictures on the Richmond SPCA website. If you're interested in adopting Cheddar, another cat that was saved from Hurricane Irma, you can log on to the Richmond SPCA Facebook page where they'll be posting the cats as they're ready to be adopted. For VCU InSight, I'm Lexi Hughes.
If you're interested in adopting Cheddar or one of the cats saved from Hurricane Irma, you can log on to the Richmond SPCA Facebook page where they'll be updating the cats as they're ready to be adopted.
In Chesterfield, Virginia, the American dream is live and well. In a little over a year, Kim Sun Yin, Chesterfield business owner, has opened 2 locations of Daisy Duke Boots Saloon, a non-traditional country bar with a mixed clientele. Now a 3rd location, clothing line, and TV show are in the works. Jordan Howard has more.
I feel like that we could be that next big thing.
Kim San Yen, a high school dropout that was born in a Cambodian concentration camp, opened Daisy Dukes and Boots Saloon in April of 2016 to fill the void of country bars in the area. Fast forward to today, Yen has 2 locations and a TV show in the works.
I feel like with a name like Daisy Dukes and Boots, the sky's the limit.
Manager Eric Cummings says that Daisy's is anything but a traditional country bar.
Usually when people think country, they think backwoods, Confederate flag, redneck. It's much more than that.
In fact, Cummings says that Daisy's prides itself not only on being the only country dance bar in the area, but also on providing an accepting atmosphere for patrons.
We have different races, different backgrounds, different ages.
Yen says the key to Daisy's success along with hard work is that he doesn't cater to a certain clientele, but that everyone is welcome regardless of race, age, and sexuality.
I have a African American manager. I have a gay manager. I have a female manager, and I'm Cambodian.
The American dream doesn't stop here for Yen. In addition to his 2 locations right here in Hull Street and one in Hopewell, he plans on starting a brand new clothing line next year and opening a 3rd location in 2018. For VCU InSight, I'm Jordan Howard.
You can check out Daisy Dukes and Boots Saloon specials and events by finding them on Facebook.
What's better than spending your day at a festival full of diversity and celebration? Live free and live proud. The Virginia Pride Fest 2017 arrived right here in Richmond this year on Browns Island. The Virginia Pride Fest is the largest annual celebration of the LGBTQ community in the Commonwealth. Thousands of people came out with smiling faces and their rainbow attire to enjoy live music, food vendors, and the family-friendly environment. Those who attended the festival said they will definitely come back for years to come. Governor Terry McAuliffe received an award at the festival for his support of the LGBTQ community. And that does it for this edition of VCU InSight.
Make sure to check us out on our website at insight.vcu.edu.
You can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook under VCU InSight. Contact us with any stories you'd like to see on our show.
And if you miss our show or would just like to watch it again, you can find us on YouTube at VCU InSight. Thanks for watching. I'm Saonia Hughley.
And I'm Jordan Bruss. We'll see you next time.